Credo Voices, the podcast where we bring you inspiring stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm your host, Awele Okibo, the CEO of Credo Advisory.
For many young changemakers, the path to impact can feel like an uphill battle, especially for those from underrepresented backgrounds. But as the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This wisdom is at the heart of Jasmine Anouna's journey. In this episode of Credo Voices Season 2, we travel to Barcelona to meet Jasmine, the founder of The Bloom, an award-winning community empowering underserved social impact leaders. At just 14, after a suicide attempt, she discovered the transformative power of human connection, a realization that became the foundation for her work. What started as a simple newsletter has grown into a global platform bridging the global South and North, offering mentorship, networks, and opportunities for changemakers. Jasmine is advancing Sustainable Development Goal 10, Reduced Inequalities and Sustainable Development Goal 17, Partnerships for the Goals, ensuring no changemaker is left behind. Join us for a conversation on resilience, connection, and reimagining the future of social impact.
Today I have Jasmine Anouna. Jasmine, please introduce yourself and tell us where you joining us from. What country, what city?
Hi, everyone. I am Jasmine, originally from Italy and Egypt and the US, but I am calling from my new home in Barcelona.
Before we start, Jasmine, we met at Goalkeepers in New York during the UN General Assembly. I can't remember, was this in 2022 or was it 2023?
2022 was I remember the night we met.
And it was so serendipitous. And I remember thinking, oh my God, you are when you told me about your organization, I was like, oh my God, the energy, you emit such grace and joy. It was so lovely meeting you. And I just remember thinking, I have to find out a little bit about what you do. So Jasmine, can you tell me about Bloom? How did you start it? What's the story around its conception?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. And also the feelings were definitely mutual. The first time we met, I felt like genuine curiosity from you and just such a grounding presence. I felt you were truly listening. And I think in these kinds of contexts, it's always very rare to meet people who are fully present when there's so much happening around. So I really appreciated that and just wanted to name that. So my story, I will talk about The Bloom is very interwoven with my personal story. So I'm the daughter of refugees and immigrants and spent most of my childhood growing up in Italy. And when I was growing up around the time, Italy had some of the fastest growing rates of gender-based violence in Europe. And, I was actually really living the headlines at home as well. I was seeing the news and then seeing, systemic oppression at home from emotional and psychological abuse. And so when I decided to fight for systems change, it was something that was born in me really early on, having seen injustice firsthand. And I experienced it to such a degree that when I was 14, I tried to take my own life from all of this. And that was when the seed for The Bloom truly was born, because my failed suicide attempt taught me and made me very hypersensitive towards a very important point, which is all about The Bloom, which is connection. In today's world, we hear a lot about tech bros talking about connection. We hear people like Mark Zuckerberg talking about connection in Facebook, then we hear about connection for social media platforms. But it took me a long time, actually, in the last 3 years to reconcile that this is some, not in that way, but connection is something that really drives me, because I understood from a really early age the injustice that comes from feeling systemically marginalized and disconnected to the point where it leads you to so much heaviness. And so that seed of The Bloom was born early on, and how that translated later on in life is, I dedicated like the first many years of my career early on towards systems change. And the way I thought I was going to fight for justice was through a legal career. I dreamed of being a diplomat, and I was pretty on track towards like, you know, an international career in human rights. I was working at the UN, at OHCHR. I was an unpaid intern, but I was doing quite well until I started burning out and just feeling that disconnect, like that itch that I had like from really early on, that isolation. And I felt it because I was looking for a change. I was looking for opportunities around the world where a young activist like myself could just grow and find mentorship and find the resources she needed in order to thrive in careers in systems change and across SDGs. I could not find that platform. And so I built it myself while I was still at the UN. It started as a newsletter because I was an introvert at the time, and I didn't have any social media. So I didn't know what LinkedIn was 4 years ago, actually. Fun fact.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
I had no clue what LinkedIn was. Actually, like my former partner taught me how to use LinkedIn. I remember I was, you know, like this fancy, like educated person who had no clue how to do a LinkedIn post or even how to use the platform, not at all. And so newsletter, I was an academic, you know, and a lawyer. So for me, writing was natural, and curating. So I started a newsletter to really create a space where no matter where you were in the world, whether you're a changemaker in Ghana, in Italy, Spain, the US, that you had equal access to opportunities across SDGs. And the vision then is the same it is now. And we've grown from a newsletter to now a learning platform, which is very exciting because I've been working on that behind the scenes together with my team for the last 6 months. We've had very high, intense growth. These have been, you know, I was working alone for the first 3 years of the Bloom, you know, on and off with freelancers and community members who had offered to co-create, but I'd never really like invested in a team. And been able to like sort of really bring together all these like threads that had been there. Like I was never able to go full time on the Bloom up until now. And now I am, which is really exciting. And I have a team behind me that are leading truly in their own unique way, the Bloom. And so our vision is really to build a global South and global North bridge to mobilize opportunities for everyone around the world, especially underrepresented leaders in social change, to really access that mentorship and that network that would have been so useful to me when I was feeling hopeless. I truly just never want anyone to feel hopeless again in this space, because these issues are extremely difficult already when you're fighting for systems change, climate crisis, humanitarian work. These are already very heavy subjects.
Absolutely.
I just want to embed lightness, and I think it's very easy. It takes a lot of work, because I was listening to a podcast with the founder or the former CEO of Airbnb, and he was talking about how systemically people didn't understand and didn't believe in his idea or just in the vision of things. And I definitely felt that for the first few years, where it's like, oh, this is just a newsletter. That's cute. But like, I'm not trying to build like just a newsletter, you know, like
right.
Trying to dismantle what is really one of the biggest problems, I think, in social change, which is that we are systemically siloed. And you have many amazing pockets of social impact leaders, but there's no guarantee that everyone's connected. And
Absolutely.
That's what the Bloom is doing.
And especially now, Jasmine, in this online world we're living in, that creates even more barriers to connection. So I think it's just really impressive that you saw a problem and you're literally now solving it by creating this learning platform. And Jasmine, for someone who 4 years ago wasn't on LinkedIn, you have over 44,000 followers. That is insane. But that speaks to so many things, but primarily that obviously you are providing value. There's something you're providing to people that obviously they want to, they need, and they want to keep staying engaged with you. So I really have to congratulate you on that. Now, something you said that really resonates, you said you want to build a bridge between the global South and the global North. Now, we're both very, very well vested in driving the sustainable development goals. We're very much in the development space. And I can't tell you how important this is on so many levels, whether it be it cultural, be it technical, be it politically, and especially economically. So it's interesting that that's your focus. But now this is more in the professional and more in the learning space. So I think that's really incredible. Now, let's really do a deep dive into Bloom. But first of all, why bloom? I'm very curious. And when you think of bloom, I think of flowers blooming. You talked about joy. So can you just share a little bit around how you came about the name The Bloom?
Yeah, I mean, first, nature has informed absolutely everything I do. I wanted a name that felt organic. I think some things in life, I think the project of oppression, one of the many projects of oppression is complexity. Nature is complicated in all of the most simple ways. And I think I wanted to create something like in a brand that feels effortless and also generally a name that felt like it was embodying organic values, organic feelings, and alluding to nature, while at the same time, blooming is a very difficult process, like to grow. It's an incredibly uncomfortable thing. The last 2 weeks have been some of the most intensive growth like of my entrepreneurial journey in a really positive way across so many different areas. And I walked away from the week feeling so exhausted, but so satisfied because growth is a invaluable thing. And I think we need a space of growth
Yes, for
in
sure.
social change.
Yes.
And for me, community is the fastest way to grow. It's like you cannot grow on your own.
In
You cannot see.
isolation.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
always say like relationships are like mirrors, and especially being able to trust the right kind of mirrors to be able to help you to see yourself in new ways and to be able to grow in new ways. Why Bloom is because I wanted to create something that embodied and that inspired constant growth and social change, realizing that we're in a constant process of unlearning and relearning. So that's why. Unfortunately, now it's the most overused word ever.
The Bloom isn't just a platform, it's a movement reshaping how changemakers connect, learn, and grow. Rooted in Jasmine Anouna's personal journey, The Bloom provides underrepresented leaders with mentorship, career opportunities, and a thriving network in social impact. With a newsletter reaching over 45,000 readers, a dynamic job board, and in-person events, The Bloom creates a space where curiosity fuels action, ensuring no changemaker has to navigate their path alone.
So for our audience who have not gone to your website, who have never heard of The Bloom, and let's do a deep dive into basically what it does specifically. So a one-stop shop, driving social impact, work information. So tell me, when you come on, what resources do you provide specifically? Let's really kind of add some color to the operations and the resources that are available to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations. You have just entered the Bloom's website. I'm going to walk you through the journey. It's going to be confusing because you're going to be like, this looks interesting, but like, is it a newsletter? Is it a platform? Do I have to pay for this? Is it free? Like, I'm so confused. So that's the first thing you're going to feel. I'm going to be real. Like, that's the first thing because the website we have right now, actually, we're going through a major rebrand. I'm so excited about it because I've never been more excited I've never been able to like really focus on communicating like through our public facing things. Like I've been so focused
that's
on
that's every entrepreneur's challenge.
Exactly.
They focus on the actual work and not on logos and taglines. I know.
Exactly.
So trust me. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the validation. In fact, it's like, so I'm the first to admit, like our tech is like super messy and our website doesn't truly communicate what we do. However, you're on there and you will sign up for our free newsletter, chances are, where you will join over 45,000 readers every single week. And every Sunday, you will receive what will probably be one of your favorite Sunday rituals with your morning coffee or your evening tea, where you will see incredible art, new art every single week from women of color, mostly, because I'm biased, and people of color. Photographers. You'll walk in and you'll get an overview of the newsletter and some of our top 3 recommendations of things that you're going to enjoy. Every week we have a new interview, which is a career-focused interview with someone from the community, either one of our partners or one of our members, where you'll read like a very vulnerable and very interesting story of someone who you probably have never encountered their story before. So shout out, for example, we had the Center for Eco-Feminist Thinking. We featured her. She's from Morocco, and we did a deep dive into her career journey, which included going like to theater and then also working in consulting and also working in like academia academia, and then also now working on entrepreneurship. So very multifaceted, squiggly career journey and social change. Then you're probably going to find some really cool, like fun links, which like include concerts. We had a Chilean French concert the other day in the newsletter, and then you'll find fellowships around the world, which are our most popular thing.
Wow.
And you'll also find grants, which you probably have never heard of. And then you will find events to join that are happening in our community. And then you'll find a lot of jobs. Our job section has diminished, mostly because, contrary to the advisory of some of the senior leaders in my life, like more than anything, we're really not specialized in like, sharing jobs. I think many people can share jobs. AI can find jobs. What people want is curation. And that's what we do. And that's what you'll feel is that you'll feel the same way every week. You'll just feel inspired and just grateful because you can share these resources with your friends and your networks. And so that's the newsletter. And then in our platform, we do networking events almost every 2 weeks. We have mentorship events from some of our partners. We work with hundreds of organizations around the world and who all want to connect with the Bloom. And then we have a larger job board, which you can access and update it every single week. We have reciprocity hubs where you can easily connect with diverse leaders across SDGs. Let's say, for example, whether you're like, I am looking for, let's say you want to find season 3 guests, right? Let's put you in the platform. You're like, Jasmine,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to post to LinkedIn because LinkedIn is going to get me like a bunch of random views. And you're like, I want a safe place, like where I can connect with values-aligned leaders across SDGs. I'm looking for, let's say you only want to interview queer leaders in the global south that are working on the climate crisis.
Wow.
And you wouldn't want to post that on LinkedIn, but you definitely can post that in the Bloom. And you can post that in the Bloom and you'll find across every intersection. We have so many people working across niches. That's truly what you will find in the learning platform is you will find our community. And they're the thing that inspires me the most and that keeps me going because they are incredible and working in so many different causes. And the one commonality they have is that they had never found a place for meeting like-minded people, and they're all meeting and coming from private sector, public sector. So what you'll find is a very vibrant community more than anything. Aside from I can walk you through, there's 50 more features in the platform.
No, but it's incredible. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. You have extensive programming. And
Yeah, we have extensive programming. Yeah.
wow. And then, so a couple of things. One thing that's striking is how you, based on all of the community you've built,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably touch across all of the SDGs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is quite significant. I mean, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, when I engage with people, it's like, oh, it's either on global health or it's on climate. But I'm hearing, everything from gender equality to climate to it's everywhere. You're able to touch upon all of the different SDGs, have
Yeah.
a community of people who are doing work across various sectors in different
Mm-hmm.
locations. You mentioned public and private sector. This is like gold. This is really quite impressive. So a
Thank you.
couple questions. So you
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of this happening online. Share a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about, that social impact leader in Beijing
Mm-hmm.
who would like to have that
Mm-hmm.
physical, if possible, or the person in New York or in
Mm-hmm.
Lagos. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have any programming that's physical, that you actually have physical meetings?
I love this question. So, as someone who is very obsessed with connection and communities, I think you cannot build a digital solution without, especially community, without physical. It would be silly and naive to overlook the physical because I think obviously we crave connection digitally, but more than anything, we crave connection in real life. So, what we do online, we would very much want to do in person, and we already have actually. So, again, up until the last 3 years, I had been working alone. So for the most part, and I did organize events and I had people from the community that really wanted to organize events. So we actually sponsored quite a lot of events in Stockholm, in Rio de
Wow.
Janeiro,
Oh
in
my
London,
goodness.
in Portugal,
What?
in Barcelona. Yeah, we had a very, I actually paused, but in Barcelona alone, I had organized probably around 15 to 20 different in-person events here, and they were wildly successful in partnership with local communities, local coffee shops, things like this. So we have done many in-person events, and
Oh my
actually
God, I love it.
our our growth strategy is all about like marrying together the in-person with the digital. And actually on the platform I've started to see this, but so many bloomers are like, hey, is anyone here in Berlin? Is anyone here based in Nairobi? And I'm like,
Oh,
yes.
Jasmine, there's so many nuggets here I want to address, and I want our audience to really be able to, to take. So, first of all, I remember you had invited me. You had one of your physical events. I think it was going to be in New York, and there was one in Washington D.C., if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, and I wasn't able to attend. So, first of all, I need to know when next you're either going to be in Washington D.C. or in Abuja. Any
Mhm.
have you been able to do any in Africa?
Not yet, but
Okay.
I very much want to, because we actually just started working with the University of Cape Town. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations,
Thank
Jasmine.
you.
That's incredible. So
Thanks.
here's a point. When you are ready, we are more than happy to support you in hosting something in Abuja. So I always say you haven't done Africa until you come to Nigeria, and this is just a shameless plug for my country.
I love
Yes.
it. Yes.
Okay. Second, also, I love that the bloomers. I was going to ask you what do you guys call it? I love that it's bloomers. It's such a great Monica. I love it. Now, tell me a little bit about. Well, no. First of all, you mentioned the safe space.
Hmm.
And there is a tendency for all of these social platforms to end up becoming toxic, stressful. Some people just end up hesitating in sharing or asking questions. So I love
Hmm.
that you've already created an alternative. As in,
Hmm.
if you're worried about how a certain question will come across, you're
Hmm.
saying that your platform provides that safe space to ask that question. Oh, I'm looking for X, person to help me do this. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
So because and you're aware there's all of this kind of cancel culture and
Hmm.
cyberbullying, and in these professional spaces there's this
Hmm.
natural instinct to put on a persona when you're posting. So I love that Bloom does that. You can actually come on the platform and ask all of the, there's no stupid or inappropriate question.
No.
Obviously, everything is done with respect, but that it's so important that these spaces do exist. So my other question is, let's get into the heads of bloomers, right?
Hmm.
You have over 44,000 incredible, motivated people all over the world. Give me a little bit about the demographic. So you talked about they're all over the world. Just name a couple of the countries. Give us a sense of the countries that you have your members. Give us a
Hmm.
little about everything from, all the demographics,
Hmm.
age, whatever you can share. I want us to give a little bit of more context around bloomers.
Yeah, of course. So first, I also wanted to acknowledge, on the note of safe spaces, it's not easy to run a safe space, but I think especially not easy because you have to be the first to embody like vulnerability as well. And vulnerability and actually being vulnerable in public is so difficult because you're on your own healing journey of like, what are you comfortable actually being vulnerable about? And then vulnerability is awkward as well online, you know? So I just wanted to name that as well, that for anyone who is listening that is like unsure whether should I share this story, should I not? I went through the same process, and it's super awkward figuring out like how to create safe spaces, because you also want to embody that vulnerability that it takes to actually create them, but it's not an easy journey, and it's also like takes time. So I just wanted to reassure anyone that was listening about like, how do I get
Oh,
good at
Jasmine,
facilitating
thank
safe
you for
spaces?
that. Thank you.
On the note of our demographics, so I do everything unconventional. So I'm not going to give a conventional answer to demographics. I'll tell you
Okay.
three characteristics, and then I will go into the actual technicalities. But
Okay.
the first characteristic of a bloomer is that they're usually introverted. Like bloomers,
Sounds familiar. It's the way you
bloomers
started.
like boomers are going to be like the people that are in coffee shops that are like either with a book, probably with a book, or spend like 10 hours in a coffee shop working, probably at secondhand shopping secondhand on weekends, and like going to bookstores buying like 20 books that they're never going to read. Like, it's just because the newsletter is what brings us all together, and a newsletter is very different from a social media platform. And I think that's what I love the most about our foundation. It's like our foundation is not like a TikTok channel. Our foundation is like curation. And so it's people who are really excited for thoughtfulness. Like, I would say that's like the first. So it's like introversion / like passionate about thoughtfulness, caring more about quality than quantity. The other is curiosity. I would say bloomers are typically people with like more than like 4 different interests. For example, interested in wildlife conservation, who is also like from Mongolia, who is also a park ranger, who also teaches at an NGO for gender equity on the side, who is also like doing a PhD in like food justice. So that's the kind of profiles we have typically. Like my team is literally the same. You know, I am as well. Like half of my team is like, well, like Anissa, for example, came from like oceans and like marine not marine marketing. She's going to hate me for saying that, but like related stuff related to oceanography, biology, marine stuff. She loves the ocean. So just completely different background. So they're
that's what makes it so incredible, because of that diversity. I think that's what makes it so unique as well. Okay, so I went sleuthing around your website yesterday, and I promise you, I'm not stalking you. Okay, so maybe I am stalking you, but just to your point around your community, I'm going to read something. Right? Don't panic. I'm going to read something that somebody wrote from one of the testimonials. This is from Titi Lokwe, who is Nigerian.
I love Titi Lokwe.
Yes, she's founder of Sisterly HQ. And this
in Nigeria.
Yes, exactly. Shout out to Nigeria. So this is what she said. Finding the bloom was an answered prayer. I was looking for opportunities and resources in social impact, women's rights, and international development. Not only did I find these, but I also found a thriving community filled with the coolest people, a ton of support and liberating joy. Jasmine, that gave me goosebumps. That says there's so much to unpack there. And I'm thinking, I literally, I'm like, okay, I need to be part of this community. I want to be part of this community because it doesn't sound, while you've done an incredible job of kind of taking something that is somewhat technical. This is like skills development. It's around jobs. It's around, and you've turned it into this very organic and very familial space that young, all kinds of people can come together and just be and live and coexist. That's really profound. And I haven't come across anything like this in my X amount of years on Earth, right? So I think that's really profound. And I thought, wow, for someone, Jasmine, for someone so young to have been able to create this is incredible impact. This is where your impact is. Your ability to have curated all of this information, and you've now created this kind of this other world where people come and are able to grow, to increase their potential for jobs, to be motivated, and also be able to drive impact in their various sectors or locales or, competencies. So my hat is off to you. So one other exercise I'll do. Oh God, I could talk to you forever. We're running out of time. Okay, so here's another thing I have to say that what you did, and this again, because our podcast is all around really highlighting people who are driving impact. I just need to demonstrate another area, how you are driving impact, because you're going to be far too modest. So yesterday on LinkedIn, you did the most incredible thing, right? And this is what I called LinkedIn Gold. This is what you posted. 9 women to follow on LinkedIn with diverse careers in social impact, from free diving to financial activism. You went on and you tagged and provided like their names, 9 women. You gave a little bit of information around what they're doing, the impact they're having, and you tagged them, and you're basically shining light on these women. That's incredible. So not only are you kind of marketing them, so for instance, because you've done that, I've already told my team, okay, we need to look at that list. How can we support them? How can we amplify their stories? This is just
Mm-hmm.
one post that you just did. So again, I'm rarely in awe of people that I don't really know. Typically, I get to know you and I really understand what your motivations are. But we've met only once, and
Yeah.
I've in just following you and seeing what you're doing, I'm in awe of you. And I think to myself, my God, when I was your age, I wasn't even half as motivated or insightful. So again, yes, there's a definite girl crush happening here, but I really do have to commend you on what you're able to do. And we're running out of time, Jasmine, but here's what we'll do. This is the first of many discussions we'll have. I want to give you an opportunity. You have all of our listeners, right? What do you want people to know? What are you trying to do in the next year, for instance? What is your call to action? How do you need help, whether it's funding or ideas or more partners? Here's your opportunity. Tell what do you want people to know and what do you need?
That's so, first of all, like, I was actually crying while you were talking.
Oh,
I don't know if you could hear it. No, I hope not.
Jasmine.
But no, I mean, like, this conversation has felt like a hug, honestly. I mean, what I feel is I feel seen. And I think there's just never enough moments, like, there's never too much of, like, feeling seen. And I think people like myself, but also just generally, like, people from, like, underrepresented backgrounds, like, the thing that we all have in common is that we also just don't really feel seen that often. And so I'm all about, like, radical visibility. And for me, like, with these kinds of posts, I think society has also trained me to think that these kinds of things are actually frivolous, that, like, oh, this doesn't matter. But then I think about, like, the amounts of times I see I see so many, like, men giving each other visibility. And I'm like, that's a girls club. I'm so done with that. I am so over it. I'm like, no, I know, like, people that have achieved more things in a fingertip than any of these people who are sharing the same thing over and over. So, I think just getting rid of this negative chatter and just being able to feel seen consistently helps so much with, going forward. And I feel so much of this work is just having the joy and the inspiration and the motivation to just keep going, and to keep going in a way that's authentic. And the only way that I've been able to do that truly is by meeting people like you that see me without, like, knowing me. And I don't believe in, like, needing to know people for very long in order to truly understand, like, the essence of them. I think you
connect.
can really,
We had a connection, Jasmine, in New York. Yes. Oh,
definitely.
my goodness.
And for the support, like, I think for more than anything, we're just looking for meaningful partnerships. Like, I think we're looking for partnerships from organizations who are looking to connect their stories in turn towards, like, young towards changemakers around the world. So organizations that could use with, like, genuine visibility towards a large audience in social change. That's the first. Second is that we're looking for partnerships with universities. This is our main focus, is, like, really bringing the learning platform to all universities around the world. And I am obviously now biased towards Africa and towards Nigeria.
Yes, good. Mission accomplished.
Yes. So bringing the learning platform, and then truly just, like, any meaningful partnerships for visibility for us. Like, as you also alluded to, I've never really, it's so hard to focus on building while also amplifying. And I don't come from this, like, background of tooting my own horn. Like, literally, of talking about what I do. It's only in the last, like, year that I've been able to do that. So I think any other opportunities to come speak and things like is what I would be personally most excited for. I absolutely adore coming and giving talks to students and also just to organizations. So the general essence of what we're looking for is partnerships, and obviously subscribe to the Bloom.
Sure.
More for you than for us, like, for the listeners. Like.
Oh, Jasmine, well done. Please stay the course. I know it's a rough road being an entrepreneur, and this is also my own personal experience, but it is so rewarding. Every disappointment, you push through and you're able to, you get that fulfillment when you see the impact you're getting. So please continue to just keep staying motivated. And we certainly, on partnerships, your call for partnerships, know that you have a partner in us. Thank you for making time to talk to us. We will do everything we can to support you. Yeah. We will want to see more Nigerian bloomers. Yeah. So Titi Blopper is one of them. I'm sure you have others, but let's see how we can partner to try and get more Nigerian bloomers. Yeah. So
I would love that.
Excellent. Yes. It was lovely talking to you as always. Let me know when next you are having a physical meeting in my location or in Abuja.
Yes,
And then, of course, we will love to
of
check in
course.
on you later on and see how you guys are doing. So, goodness, knowing you, the next time we check in, you're talking about 100,000 bloomers. So, and I wouldn't be shocked. But be well, stay
Thank
happy,
you.
and keep blooming, Jasmine.
Thank you. Thank you, Walid. And thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm really grateful that you took the time to be here with us in this conversation. I hope it provided some inspiration. See.
For underrepresented social impact leaders, finding the right support can feel impossible. The Bloom was born out of Jasmine Anouna's determination to change that, to transform isolation into community and potential into action. What began as a newsletter is now a global ecosystem of changemakers, providing career opportunities, mentorship, and collaboration across borders. From job boards to learning events, the Bloom isn't just a resource, it's a revolution in inclusive support. For many, the Bloom has been more than a platform, it's been a lifeline, a space where emerging leaders find guidance, solidarity, and the tools to thrive in their impact-driven work. By supporting the Bloom, you're investing in a future where changemakers are seen, heard, and empowered to create lasting change. Because real transformation happens when we rise together.
Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay curious and keep believing in the power of your voice. This is Awele Okibo, signing off for Credo Voices.